So Samsung's launched the Galaxy A31 today for $21,999. Let's unbox it and review it real quick. Of course, you get the phone, a 15-watt fast charger, USB 2.0 data syncing and charging cable. You do get earphones in the box, and you get a rubber casing. The screen does not come with a pre-applied screen protector, so you'll probably have to buy one for protection. And now let's talk about the design of the A31. You get the classic Galaxy A prism structure with diagonal lines and reflective colors. And the feel of the materials used is that of, the combination of plastic and glass, which is pretty common in this segment. At the back, you get a quad camera setup, and we'll talk more about it as we review the camera towards the end of the video. Needless to say, the back of the device is prone to fingerprint smudging and dust, so definitely keep it protected with a rubber case. The device is running Android 10 with Samsung's One UI 2.1, which is the latest, and that's great news. Let's talk more about the device, the performance, the display, and so on. But before we move on, I'm trying to reach 200,000 subscribers. It'll be great if you could drop a like, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, and help me move closer to my goal. The A31 does come with the headphone jack, so that's again great news. Now the device is a 6.4-inch display, which can make one-hand use a little difficult. It's not super easy, but it's not impossible. The grip is quite nice though. It's not very wide as some of the other Galaxy A series phones. Quickly comparing the A31 with the S20, which has a 6.2-inch screen, you can figure out the difference in the height and the width, So, of course, S20 is a lot more ergonomic. But if you compare it to the Galaxy A70s, which has a 6.7-inch display, then the A31 actually looks a lot more manageable. Now, there is significant chin at the bottom, but again, that's something you'll get used to over a period of time as you're using the phone. But on the sides, the bezel is quite thin, and that's actually quite nice. Now the SIM card tray allows you to mount 2 SIM cards and 1 microSD card, all 3 at the same time. So you can expand storage by additional 512 gigs on top of the existing 128 gigs. That's phenomenal. And now let's talk about the display. So you get a 6.4-inch FHD Plus Super AMOLED screen with a U-shaped notch, as you can see. Now the colors are beyond phenomenal, that's what AMOLED screens are known for. Now this display is also Widevine L1 certified, so you get top-notch video streaming quality, which is what you need. Now it's Super AMOLED, again, punchy colors, you would not have any complaints with regards to that. The screen is really bright, so if you're someone who's outdoors, well, not so much at this point in time, but given in the future, if you're someone who travels a lot outdoors, you would not have visibility as a challenge. And now let's talk about the OS, the user interface, which is Android 10, One UI 2.1, so you get the latest Samsung stuff. There are a couple of pre-installed apps that the phone comes with. For example, you get the regular Microsoft suite of apps, you get the Google suite of apps, and you get some Samsung goodies, like you've got FM radio, you've got File Manager, you get Samsung Health, and AR Zone. Now there are some pre-installed apps like Snapchat, Prime Video, Hello, which by the way you can uninstall if you don't need them, but they do come pre-installed. And now that the phone is on, I just want to show how easy or difficult it is to use the phone with just one hand. And as you can see, it's not impossible, but it's not easy. You can do it, but it's not something you want to do. It's also because it's got a 6.4-inch nice and big screen. Okay, moving on, couple of features. You get link to Windows, so you can mirror your phone on your Windows PC. You get quick share, and you do have NFC capabilities. You also get Dolby Atmos, but of course it can only be used if you've got earphones plugged in, whether it's wireless or wired. You get your dark mode, you get focus mode, and you get smart view. So if you've got a TV around which supports smart view, you can mirror your screen very easily. But unfortunately, I don't see screen recording, which by the way is an Android 10 inbuilt feature and would have been nice to have. And now moving over to performance. It's a mid-segment smartphone, so performance is not the top criteria when making these phones. It's got a MediaTek processor with max clock speed of 2 GHz, but it's still got 6 gigs of RAM, so multitasking should not be an issue. But yeah, launching of apps, you may not feel it's the snappiest, but it's definitely not slow. Nothing that you'll feel too bad about. And now to try all of this out, let's also play some, games. So of course, I launched PUBG, and this is the highest, no sorry, not the highest, it's on high quality. And yeah, it's actually not bad at all. I mean, I don't experience any lag or delay. The colors look obviously great. You know, the shadows, the textures, all of that looks pretty legit to me. Even touch to response is quite nice. You know, it's not as smooth as you'd expect from a flagship level phone, right? But this is not flagship. This is a mid-segment smartphone, and for that, I think it's just about right. So as I'm playing the game, there's no frame drop or delay or lag of any sort, although it is a game that requires GPU, CPU, as well as network resources to ensure that, you know, it's a lag-free streaming game. And yeah, no complaints really. Also, I've been playing this for a while. The phone did not get very hot. Of course, it's got a 5000 milliampere hour battery, which is actually great enough for the entire day. I also tried playing Asphalt 9. It's one of my favorite arcade games, and again, no problem, no hiccups, no issues, smooth gameplay and totally enjoyable. And lastly, coming to the quad camera setup, a combination of a 48 megapixel primary lens, an ultra wide lens, a depth sensor and a macro lens. And if you're used to Galaxy phones, then the camera interface should also be very familiar. You've got all the modes at the bottom. Now here are some samples that I took using the 48 megapixel lens in 12 megapixel mode, because the difference between 12 megapixel and 48 megapixel mode is really not a lot. I'll make all of these photos downloadable, so there will be a link in the description. Definitely download these images and check it out for yourself. You can switch to the ultra wide lens by tapping on that button, and again, here are some shots that I took. They've come out really nice. Also, if you see, the ultra wide pictures which are on the right have a better dynamic range, which is because it's a different lens, of course. And the colors are also a little different. Now, what's natural and what's not is really subjective, but you can, again, as I said, download these pictures from the link in the description and see if you like the photos. And if you do, then you're all set. And again, as you can see, the dynamic range on the ultra wide photos is actually a little better than what you see on the primary lens. And testing out the live focus or the depth sensor, of course, you know, you have to have a subject in place which you can focus on, and then you can manipulate the blur levels. You can apply various effects as well, you know. So again, be careful with these effects because they can get a little crazy, but yeah, they're there. And here are some shots that I took. As you can see, the edge detection is quite nice and the background blur looks beautiful. So a very good job done with the depth sensor. There are some additional modes like the Pro mode, the panorama mode, you've got the macro lens and a food mode. Now if you go into Pro mode, you don't get as many options as you do with a flagship phone. You know, you've got very limited options there. In terms of video, you can shoot up to full HD videos at 30 FPS. Here's a sample of a 1080p video, and of course I've tried to, you know, run with the phone, take stable video shots as well, and you can see how sensitive the lens is to the light, so it quickly adapts. If there's too much light, it sort of reduces the exposure so that you can get more details, especially when I point towards the sky. And then as I lower it down, it sort of brightens up to show more greens. But it may seem a little washed out to you, but you know, there are all kinds of filters and effects that you can use to enhance your video. But yeah, overall it's just about fine. And I know a lot of you are going to ask me this, so let me tell you up front, there is no super steady mode, slow motion or super slow motion. You know, it requires a bit of processing power, and the processor on this phone does not support that. And that's it from me, guys, on the Galaxy A31. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. I'll see you guys in the next one.